Hello and welcome back everybody. It's Complicated Relationships Reddit Stories. Hope you guys are safe and healthy. Now let's see what the story is about today. What if you suddenly notice that your wife starts going out more, guarding her phone, avoiding you, and basically doing things that she has never done before? Then finally you walk in her fooling around with another man. And now it's time we listen to this epic story. Also, if you like what I do, please give this video a thumbs up and do subscribe to the channel.
I met my wife in college. Let's call her Ellie. We hit it off right away. When we started dating, I was not really assertive. You could accurately say that it was her showing interest and desire in me that made me really begin to value myself and work past a ton of insecurities I used to deal with. I was just a hard-working, nerdy, smart man, but never had any real luck with girls. To me, it was almost incredible that someone as smart and beautiful as her would show as much interest in me as I showed in her. We both have always been driven, which led us to separately building small businesses of our own by the time we graduated college. We moved in together after graduation and a year later married. We had what I considered a very strong marriage. We had weathered family dramas, professional challenges, small and large disagreements, and always managed to work through everything, and I felt it always made us stronger. Ellie has always had a huge social circle that included a fair number of men, but I never thought too much about it as she never did anything that raised flags, since all social outings seemed to always be as a large mixed group, and I came to trust her closest friends.
As their 10th year anniversary was coming up, OP decided to bring up the topic of starting a family.
Early on in the relationship, we decided to compromise on the size of our family. We finally agreed on having one kid. Now, 10 years into our marriage, secure economically, and thinking how healthy I thought our relationship was, I brought the topic up. I can't help but think me doing this may have started this whole chain of events. A little over 3 months ago, she tells me she is going out with her friends to have some fun. She basically told me she needed to unwind as she was getting stressed about me asking about having kids again. That night, she comes back at 4 a.m. Starting with that day, our bedroom goes completely down. In our relationship, Ellie has always initiated as much as me. In fact, on average, I would say more often than me. And for rare periods when we were dealing with traveling, I can't think of us ever going more than 5 days without some form of intimacy. She starts going out more, guarding her phone, and avoiding me. Things she had never done before. After about 3 to 4 weeks, I talked to my best friend. Let's call him Omar. He points me to Reddit, and I start reading. Eventually, I decide I need to do something about this as it's beginning to put me in a bad mood. I like trusting my wife. I need to trust her.
Well, needless to say, OP gets his hands on his wife's phone, checks her calls and text messages, feeling like he's completely violating her privacy.
Turns out that one of the people new to her social circle is an old high school flame from before we were together. The more I dug, the more I found. I think the fact I'd always trusted her completely made her complacent about hiding the affair better. I found out that he had attended that party a month before, and they spent all night catching up and ended up kissing, not even really hiding it from her whole group of friends, and then conveniently going to the restroom at the same time. Up to this point, all I had felt has been this giant pit of anxiety in my stomach. A part of me trying to hold on to the image of the lady I thought I had married, a kind of self-delusion. But the anger and sadness start getting overwhelming, made worse by the fact that she seems oblivious to my sudden indifference.
She didn't notice OP has stopped making romantic gestures, and he felt like he was breaking inside.
Finally, a month ago, I decided to catch them in the act. So I tell Ellie I'm going to visit my cousin for the weekend, who lives 3 hours away. Instead, I go stay with Omar, who has been helping me record and copy everything. I waited, and sure enough, she brought him to our house. I snuck in and made my way to our room, and the sounds left no doubts. They were so into it they didn't notice me standing there at the door recording them with my phone. I literally felt something in me break, like something in my soul snapped so hard that I could hear it. My veins went ice cold and felt like a 10-ton anvil had been dropped on me. I couldn't breathe. I went numb. This next part I can only tell you what Omar says happened, because I only remember parts of the next few minutes. According to Omar, who I had brought as a witness, says that I walked up to them, pulled the guy off the bed, and Omar pulled me off of him. I remember Omar holding me down on the ground.
After that, there was this normal hysterics of being caught.
I went no contact for 5 weeks and began working with a lawyer preparing for the worst. Omar served as her contact point during that time, since I simply didn't want to talk to her. Ellie has contacted my family and told them that we are having problems. After the 5 weeks of NC, we met and talked. She was remorseful, told me it wasn't my fault, and that it was all her doing, her responsibility, and her decisions. We decided to go to marriage counseling and at least explore if there is anything salvageable. Sitting here, I can't believe that, even after that, I still love her. I am disgusted with myself that I have thought about her well-being, about her happiness. I especially hate that now I have to question our entire relationship. Was it just now that she got brazen about cheating, or has it happened before? I didn't bother looking far enough or was too stupidly trusting to see it at all.
It's been almost a month. OP decided to try marriage counseling. His questions to those who have already gone through this are as follows.
1. Is it possible to reconcile without feeling that you lose some self-respect? 2. How long does the anger to sadness to numbness, rinse and repeat cycle last? I'm getting exhausted of the constant emotional roller coaster. 3. I find myself really loathing the whole idea of having to essentially be on the constant lookout. Is that a sign of me wanting out, or just me being exhausted? Because I honestly can't tell. Honestly, I love her. I've been head over heels for her since we met back in college. I want to work it out. Is it actually possible? And if it is, will it ever resemble what it used to, even remotely? I took the weekend to let it all sink in and hardened my resolve. I came to the conclusion that I was never going to be able to live with myself if I stayed with her. Staying and working on it would mean having to sacrifice a significant portion of my self-respect. I also realized that I want no part of a relationship that would require me to be in a state of constant vigilance for signs of betrayal. So, I decided to push the proverbial red button.
Now, here is how it all went down.
Monday, I woke up early to an unexpected surprise. When I opened my eyes, Johnson was greeting me at full attention. Guys, I can't stress how surprising that was to me, considering that since finding out about Ellie's secret, I had not had morning wood. It was like my body was saying, yeah, we're going to get this done today and be done, ready for something new. I actually laughed so hard seeing it that Omar and his wife came to check in on me, thinking I was having some sort of breakdown. I got up, got ready, and called Ellie's dad, and told him we needed to talk. I met up with him about an hour before our MC. The whole drive there, I was surprised at how calm I was about it. I could still feel an ocean of emotions somewhere deep down, but on the surface, I was not feeling anything. We met up at a breakfast place near his house, and we sat down. Ellie's dad is a good man, lighthearted and funny, but more importantly, he is level-headed. I thanked him for how he and his wife had treated me all these years, and told him I was sorry to have this talk with him. He listened patiently, but as I started telling him why I was going to be divorcing his daughter, he lowered his head. I could tell he was ashamed and angry, not at me, but at Ellie. He told me he understood, and I asked him not to tell Ellie, as I was going to be telling her within the hour. He agreed, we shook hands, and then he told me to take care. I hated having to shatter his image of her. I debated with myself if I should have asked him to care for her, but I shouted down that instinct because he is her dad. Of course he will care for her. But, also, it is no longer my business. She is a big girl.
OP went to their scheduled marriage counseling session.
I had been rehearsing all day Sunday what I would say to her and how I would say it. I wanted to essentially emotion-proof my actions and words for the next few hours. I sat there in the parking lot for 10 minutes and just prayed. I hadn't felt like I wanted to or could since all this started. When we sat down for MC, Ellie was wearing one of the dresses I loved, and for a split second, I forgot everything. But then the visceral disgust and anger I felt pushed the attraction completely out. I let the counselor get things going like our previous sessions, and after about 10 minutes of her and Ellie discussing, I interrupted.
Now, this is how it all went down.
I said, Excuse me, I have a few things I need to tell Ellie, and that I wanted to be able to say it here, with a neutral third party. And if at any point I am interrupted, I will simply leave. I said, Ellie, I have come to realize that I do not need to know if this was the only time you betrayed me. It doesn't matter. I do not need to know how long it went on for. It doesn't matter. I do not need to know how many times you cheated. It doesn't matter. I do not need to know why. Even if there was a good reason, a perfect why, still, it would not matter. The only thing that matters is that you did it. The only fact that matters is you were never going to have children with me. At this time, Ellie opens her mouth to interject, and I got up to walk out, so she immediately backed off. I continued, you were going to string me along for however long it would take. You were going to cheat on me sooner or later. This is when the waterworks started to open up for her. You do not respect me or love me. The counselor begins to look like she is about to interject, and I responded by taking another step towards the door, which stopped her. I said, my lawyer is filing for divorce as we sit here, and as of about an hour ago, your father knows the entire truth of what has been going on. Do not contact me. From here on out, the only way we communicate will be through our lawyers. These are the last words we will ever exchange. Goodbye.
OP walked the last few steps to the door and walked out.
As soon as I closed the door, I heard a wail the likes of which would haunt people's dreams. She scrambled out of the office, pursuing me, and tried to stop me, telling me how sorry she is and how we can start a family, asking for a second chance as she cried hysterically throughout. I pushed past her and got in my car and left. At this point, that ocean of emotions that had been quietly hiding underneath it all started rolling, and I was barely holding it in. I drove to my parents' house and sent the text message I had planned to Ellie's best friend's husbands. When I got home, my old man was at the store, but Mom could tell I wasn't well. She has always been able to read me like a book. I told her I needed to tell her and Dad something important, and we sat down and waited. We chatted, and she totally calmed me down. About 30 minutes later, Dad arrived. I poured it all out. The more I talked, the more I felt that ocean of emotions emptying and all that pain pouring out of me. When I finished talking to my dad, he just held me as I cried into his shirt for a solid 20 minutes.
When it all ended, OP felt spent and oddly at peace.
I have arranged for Omar to receive a Harley he had been eyeing for a while. He has been more than a friend to me, and I am going to try my best to be as good a friend to him as he has been to me. I can't wait to see his face. I think this is the only update I will post, as it should be the end of this story. I just want to thank you all. I never thought that I would find sound and sane advice from strangers on the internet. I know that it will be a long road ahead, that I will still need IC to deal with the aftershocks of this debacle and rebuild my ability to trust. I have to hope that little by little all this pain and sadness and anger will go away like Roto-Rooter for my soul if I do the work. Now begins the rest of my life, and I can honestly say I am looking forward to it.
We have reached the end of the story. I would say, OP, you handled it like a real man. I'm so happy for you. I'm sure you will find peace, happiness, and one day meet a good girl you deserve and a family that you always wanted. Before we end the video for today, let's listen to a few comments by the beautiful community.
Ironworker 81367 says, OP, I have read both your posts. I do not understand. The text to Ellie's best friend's husband? I look back through and I did not see anything on him. Please explain why you sent him a text. What part did he play in this? Also, you're the man. Some of these posts trigger out of you, but when a man or woman stands up for themselves as I did, it just gives off a warm and cozy feeling. Trust me, 2 years from now, it will just be a bad memory. A small memory at that. Lose a cheater, gain a life. OP's reply. Her best friends were present when she cheated. They did not try to stop it, and they kept it a secret. So I decided to reveal their messy behavior to their husbands as a heads up that if they could do this to me, they would surely cover up for each other. We're All Gonna Die Man says, Man, you handled this like a boss. I wish you are healing and the best in your future. I cannot imagine even conceiving of doing such a thing by a beloved. You're spot on that she never loved you. That poor therapist. What a tragic display full of mess she had to deal with as you walked into your new, better life. OP's reply. I felt a bit bad for the therapist afterwards, but at the moment I just thought of her as a convenient witness should any nonsense ensue. OK Replacement 7697 says, "You did the best for yourself, and good luck in the whole process. I do not know if it should be the last publication, since you can still upload the entire process, since this is to support you and provide the necessary support. Divorce is not an easy and beautiful process. It will hurt a lot, but it is necessary for you to improve. Good luck, and I hope you get through all of this." After you told her all of this and left, did she try to contact you? OP's reply: "Yeah, she called about 20 times and sent a gazillion texts, but I ignored them all. Eventually, I just blocked her." OK Carmen 1992 says, "Well done. It's not easy to do. I knew on D-Day I couldn't go back. It still wasn't easy, but this is the beginning of your life. Should you meet someone else, you know what red flags are now. Seems there's a large percentage of women do this nowadays. Don't let that make you too jaded. If this happens to you again in a future relationship, it doesn't hurt near as much." OP's reply: "I don't see myself getting into a relationship anytime soon. I think it will be hard to find a woman that I could trust for a while, much less trust enough to start a family with."
Thank you all for listening. Please like, comment and share the video if you enjoyed it. Also, subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon so you will be notified when we upload the next video. Take care.